Hello, I'm Michael Eisner, and welcome to another adventure of Davy Crockett. If Davy Crockett were alive today, I wonder what he would think of our modern society. What would he think of our crowded cities and hectic lifestyle? Can you imagine the simple country boy from the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee trying to maneuver around a city like New York? He'd need all his skills as a frontiersman, and then some. But I'm sure Davy would have found some advantages to city life. For example, if he had a bear to catch or was a little late for an important Indian battle, today he could simply check his horse at the Plaza Hotel and hail a cab.
Morning, Lieutenant.
Major Benteen wants to see Crockett first thing.
What about?
I have no idea. What's that?
Must have pulled in during the night. Smart notion. Carry you home right along with you. That's real smart. Probably a civilian then.
Just be sure and tell Crockett what I told you.
Oh, I'll be sure and tell him. And I'll tell him how nice you said it, too. Morning, Willard.
Morning, Georgie.
Little morning coffee.
Need a new pot. Stay put.
All right, let's hear it. I gotta know. Everybody's gonna be talking all the livelong day about this here shaker and all that's been going on. I want to be the only one to know what Davy Crockett said to a horse to make it behave itself. What'd you say to her, Davy?
I told her I was almost certain that Georgie would forget the coffee.
Morning, Major.
Morning, Crockett.
Georgie Russell said you wanted to see me, sir?
Yes, I do.
Catching anything?
I hope not.
That one's a little too quick for me, sir.
If I catch a fish, I have to land it. If I land it, I have to take it off the hook. I have to clean it. Gore and scales everywhere. But if I avoid catching it, then I can stroll along the shore, take in the view, and nobody bothers me because I'm fishing.
You better be careful, Major. You're starting to talk like a Tennessee volunteer.
Well, as this conflict with the creek seems to be approaching its final stage, I feel we can all afford to be a little less martial.
Is that what you think's happening, sir? That we're about done with this creek business?
No. The majority of the creek are headed for the swamps around Pensacola. The backs are to the sea. There's no way out, and they know it. The remnants left here are just that. Remnants. I think you'll be home in time for spring planting, Crockett.
But that's not the reason you wanted to see me, is it, sir?
No, it's not. This is. It involves that gentleman who arrived in the wagon late last night. You've been assigned to him.
Assigned to him to do what, sir?
I haven't the faintest idea. His credentials from the Army in Washington far supersede any I've ever seen. I was ordered to put him with the best mountaineer and scout we have. Clearly, that's you. You and Lieutenant North will accompany the gentleman.
Lieutenant North?
Lieutenant North is a fine officer, Crockett.
Well, you'd be a better judge of that than me, sir. I'm sure North is as fine an officer as he can be. Do you have any idea where Lieutenant North and I are supposed to take this gentleman?
Crockett, I'm fishing. Go ask him yourself. His name's...
Mr. Callahan?
That's me, and proud of it. Who am I talking to?
I'm Davy Crockett, sir. Major Benteen says...
Crockett, I'm glad you made it. We're going to be moving out pretty shortly because we got a long way to go, I expect.
Yes, sir. Do you mind telling me where we're going?
I can't tell you.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. You do.
I do?
We need to go someplace where people won't happen on us because we're going to be doing things that don't need to be seen.
Morning. Lieutenant Alexander North, sir. I'm assigned as your military liaison. Crockett?
Liaison. Real fancy word. That's not English, is it?
No, sir. It's French. It means I'll be your contact, connection.
French talk. Well, I'm not sure that Ben Callahan merits that, but I'll do what I can to warrant it. Want to climb on up there? We'll be pulling right out. Liaison.
Well?
You need a hand up, Lieutenant?
No, thank you, Sergeant.
You saw him too?
What is it exactly you're talking about, Mrs. Pickering? Morning, Amy.
Talking about that old hawk of an Indian that was up here this morning when everything started moving. Well, you saw him too, didn't you? That's why you're up here looking.
Well, I saw something, true enough. It's hard to say what all precise. The sun was bouncing off the lake, and I couldn't...
Now, Mr. Russell, you tell the truth and shame the devil. You saw him. I saw him. Amy saw him.
He was standing right here, with his arms held way up high like this, and he was looking up at the sky like he was praying.
Tell him what else.
His lips was moving. I couldn't make out what he was saying on account I was watching from over there. But his lips was moving like he was talking to somebody in the sky.
And it was right before the very earth itself started to shake like a wet dog coming in from a cold rain. They're calling up their Indian spirits against us, Mr. Russell. They're calling up their heathen devils to kill us all in our beds.
He was standing right here with his arms held up way up high like this, and he was talking with his head all tilted back, looking up at the morning star, and he was talking to somebody in the sky with them sing-songy Indian words, staring up like you'd look into somebody's eyes.
Did you ever see anything like this?
It's not like any musket I ever saw.
It's not a musket, Lieutenant. It's a rifle. Crockett, won't you take a look down that barrel? You see all those tiny little tracks going around and around in there? That's rifling. Makes a bullet spin. Goes straighter, goes further, and hits harder.
Is this your invention, Mr. Callahan?
No. It's invented by a Scotchman named James Ferguson. Made about 100 of them. Used them in the Revolutionary War. I bet you didn't know that, did you? About Ferguson's rifle brigade?
Shows why we won the war, though.
Ferguson wasn't fighting on our side, Lieutenant. He was with the Redcoats. Crockett, you want to try it?
If I nod my head as hard as I want, I'm likely to break my neck.
All right. You put in the ball, and pour in the powder, then cock her, and then she's ready to go. I'm gonna take this down there to give you something to shoot at. You know, if I can prove to Washington that this weapon can stand up under all the conditions in combat, they're talking about making it a weapon for all the troopers. All the troopers in the entire United States Army. Can you imagine how many men that is? Can you imagine how rich a guy could get that did that kind of business?
That's an impressive amount of richness for a fact.
Whenever you have a mind.
Well, that's a pretty fair piece there, Mr. Callahan. I'm not sure as if I could...
Spar for a musket, but not for that beautiful device that you're holding. Fire when ready. And you can be reloaded in about 10 seconds.
Lieutenant, that's a much further shot than the one I just made. If you don't hit him clean...
Did you get him? Did you get him?
No, I don't think...
Yes, I hit him. That's for certain.
Lieutenant, I don't think he got...
Crockett, I was the one sighting the weapon. I know what I hit and what I didn't.
Well, then we got us a wounded mountain lion out there in the woods, sir. Now we're going to have to go in and get it.
Why?
You kill an animal clean, Mr. Callahan. You don't leave it out there to suffer.
Crockett, if a lieutenant shot that painter, he's dead. This weapon don't inflict survivable wounds.
Well, I hit him. That's a certainty.
Well, then I'll just go check your trophy.
I'm sure I hit the animal. After all, I am an officer.
Well, that just about covers it, doesn't it?
Mr. Lion. Much too stringy to eat. Much too pretty to kill. So why don't we just figure out something that's gonna get both of us out of this alive?
Lieutenant, you mind stowing this for me? I'm gonna go see if Crockett's all right.
Well, the lieutenant's shot. It might have hit the ground or might have hit a tree, but it sure didn't hit that line.
Crockett, that's no surprise to me, but let's keep it to ourselves, okay? See, I'm trying to interest the Army in a weapon, and I don't see why I should have to pay the price for that fool's incompetent marksmanship, do you?
I don't like him, Georgie. I don't like him one little bit.
The lieutenant, you mean?
No. Well, yeah, him too. I was talking about Callahan. He's too smooth. Can't get a handle on him. Like trying to pick up a greased egg.
And you still can't tell me why all you've been assigned to him?
Benteen said it's a secret. I can't.
Thought we was chums.
Well, you got secrets too, Georgie.
Like what?
Like what her name is.
Whose name?
The lady who doesn't like cuddling with the porcupine got you thinking all about shaving.
Just so happens there isn't a lady. Just so happens I'm going to be speaking in public tonight.
In public where and how come?
There's a lot of people concerned, Davy. I ain't the only one that's seen that old Indian up on that ridge. There's a lot of people that want to know what he looks like and what's he doing up there. I even drew out a picture to show folks. You see there? He's got a deer hide over his shoulders and his feathers hanging down here and stuff on his face. Look at there. A claw on his head. Now, you know the Creek. What kind of get-up is that? I mean, is that a warrior or is that a chief? What is that?
Medicine man's what that is. So you gonna speak right up at this meeting?
I hope to tell you.
Gonna say something folks will want to think on?
I expect so.
And don't you want them to recognize who it is who's speaking?
Davy said he was dressed like a medicine man. What they call their shamans. Those are the ones they use to cast spells and such.
All right, now, let's try and keep things reasonable.
Is that true, Davy Crockett? Was he a medicine man?
Well, I didn't see him myself, ma'am. I'm just judging by what Georgie told.
Just answer the question, please. Yes or no?
From what I saw in Georgie's picture, yes, but Georgie ain't exactly...
Do you see? Do you see what's going on here? Why, they're using their dark and heathen spirits against us because they know we're absolutely defenseless.
Mrs. Pickering, I don't see how we're defenseless. They've got 140 troopers and 80 volunteers.
I don't mean that kind of defending. I mean we're up here without a minister, without anyone who's got the hand of God on
I
his shoulder.
seen him! I saw that old Indian. He was in my dreams last night. He was chasing me.
Do you see? Do you see now? They've got some spell over the poor girl's dreams.
Hold on now, everybody, just hold on.
Can't you see what's happening here?
Yes, I can see what's happening here, and it's got nothing to do with any medicine man. There's always been Shakers in this part of the country. I was in one in Missouri, changed the course of a river near to 10 miles. And the Shaker didn't just happen down here. It happened up in the hills, where the creek lived. Now, why would they
I
want...
seen him. I seen him too. In my dreams. Just like Amy. He was chasing me through the woods.
It was just like that with me, too. And he was covered with all this fur.
He was breathing real low like they do. I could hear him, and I couldn't run fast enough. I kept calling for my mama, but I couldn't run fast enough. And...
All right, just keep calm.
Morning, Major. How you doing today, sir?
Hi, Mr. Russell. Why are you whispering?
Well, I wouldn't want to spook any of the fish that were getting up for breakfast time.
Well, thank you for your concern, but it's not needed.
Well, then, I need to talk to you as I have been appointed a spokesman.
For the volunteers?
Well, for some of them, but not strictly speaking just the volunteers. It seems a lot of people are getting all head up about what happened last night. Mrs. Pickering and some of the others. You know.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Well, the suggestion has come up that maybe we could use a saloon on Sunday morning for a kind of a church service. And since the troopers put the building up, it seems right that we should get permission from you first.
Well, of course, I'm not going to deny you permission, Mr. Russell, but I don't want to fuel a lot of the fear that's going around. After all, Mrs. Pickering herself said it. There's no minister here.
Oh, we was thinking of asking Davy to talk out. He knows the book and is easy with words.
That he is. Well, then. I've got a fish on my line. Found it. Here. Yes, you can use the saloon.
Military people are largely different from normal people. Whoa.
Whoa! Morning, Lieutenant. Mind some company?
Of course not.
I was, seeking your counsel, sir. Maybe you can help me out.
Anything I can do, sir. Any assistance I can offer.
I confess that I'm not much of a believer in all that stuff that was said here last night. This medicine man that's got everybody so fired up, I doubt if he's much more than a hoodoo, but he sure has caused a lot of unhappiness around here, hasn't he? And since the Army's charged with the protection of the settlers, well, we can't just turn our backs on all that unhappiness now, can we?
No, I suppose not.
So what I'm proposing is that I learn from you where the creeks might be and where that medicine man might be. Take Mr. Crockett as a guide and go up to the hills and demonstrate the effectiveness of the Ferguson rifle by bringing back a trophy that could end all this unhappiness.
You're talking about killing the medicine man.
If we're to state things boldly.
The situation between us and the creek has been rather quiet of late. This could start it all up again.
And it could say to Washington that they have a weapon that works and an officer with sufficient manhood to order its use.
Georgie, I'm not giving a sermon. That's all there is to that. I'm not going to tell people how to think on things or what's right or what's wrong.
But you could tell everyone that things are going to work out for the good.
I could, but seeing as I don't know whether or not that's so, I ain't going to say it is. Are you ready?
Well, Mrs. Pickering and that girl said they could see that old Indian up on the ridge when they come out of that building last night.
Oh, it was dark as pitch last night. They couldn't see a thing. Are you ready or not?
I am, though I don't quite see the reason for this. Four, 3, 2, 1, go. "21 seconds. That's real good, Davy.
It was real good up till yesterday, Georgie. If I ever come up against what Mr. Callahan has, I'd be about 10 seconds dead.
And you still won't tell me what's going on with this Callahan fella?
Not won't. I can't.
Crockett! Just wanted to make sure you were ready for tomorrow morning. We're going to be moving at first light.
I'll be there, Mr. Callahan, but I don't know what else you got to prove.
Live game, Mr. Crockett. Live game. Now, surely that ought to appeal to a hunter of your legendary skills.
What will y'all be hunting for?
I'll see you in the morning.
That's what y'all were doing then? You two were hunting up there?
Georgie, I told you I can't tell you anything. Now, why don't you give it up?
Just like you told me you couldn't help me with Sunday meeting, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Georgie, I got more important things to do. More important than helping out a chum? More important than listening to a bunch of frightened old biddies carry on about some Indian who probably wasn't even there, being responsible for something that's pure nature and nothing else.
Are you calling me a frightened old biddy?
Georgie, do you believe that Indian made that shaker happen?
I don't know. All I know is I was trying to help some folks out. You know, like I asked you to help out. You recollect that?
I do. And do you recollect me saying no? Because if you don't, I'll say it again.
So help me. If you wasn't my best chum,
You'd what?
I'd wallop you one.
You think you got the wherewithal?
I got me the where-all, and I got the what for.
Well, you heard Callahan. We're leaving at first light, so you got up till then to get a fire under that pot of yours and bring it to boil.
And you'll have to remove the liquor as well. It would be greatly out of place.
Remove it? To where? I can't store it in a stockade. The prisoners will never give it back.
Now, Mr. Willard, if you'll just listen...
Hey! Davy Crockett and George Russell are taking each other apart.
You give? No, you no. Willard, you got room in your tent for me?
Sure thing.
Good night, y'all.
Oh, Mr. Russell. Mama found more of them pamphlets on hellfire.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Amy.
What kind of pamphlets are you reading, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I'm not really reading them. Mrs. Pickering was expecting someone to say something on Sunday morning at this meeting on account of Davy turned us down. So I thought I'd work on my prayerfulness a little bit. Oh, no, Willard. Coffee. I can't take a chance that I might lurch in church.
Well, I must give you credit, Mr. Russell.
Why? If Crockett can do it, I can do it.
Maybe so, but it's more than I could do.
Oh, sure you can. I've heard you use big words all kind of time.
That's not in front of people at a public gathering. No, I couldn't do that at all.
Well, why not?
Stage fright.
Stage fright?
Yes, terrible thing. I get in front of an audience and all I can think about is what dreadful, embarrassing thing I'm going to do. All I can focus on is that sea of faces just waiting for me to make some horrible, humiliating mistake. My heart begins to pound, my knees begin to knock. And I just know that my voice is going to crack like a choir boy's the minute I open my mouth, to be greeted by a thundering chorus of mocking laughter. Consider it a blessing you're not afflicted by it.
You know, the higher we go, the harder it is to breathe.
Well, if a man wants something worthwhile, he's got to expect to work for it. I'll be okay in a minute or two.
You know, if you give me that gun, I'll just head on up ahead and I'll hunt down whatever it is you think we ought to get.
No, I better take care of this myself.
What in tarnation are you doing?
What I come here to do.
What?
Getting rid of that medicine man.
You don't know that's a man. You were never one of the ones that said you saw him.
He's a medicine man. Now, if he ain't the one that's terrorizing your village, who's to know and who's to care?
He's unarmed. He's meaning nobody any harm. War is one thing, but you're talking plain murder.
I'm talking about life, boy, mine and the way I choose to live it. Besides, would you like to share in the glory of getting rid of that evil spirit that's causing all the shakers?
Wait a minute.
Crockett, help me! Crockett! Something's tearing in my chest! Crockett, please! Crockett, help me! Crockett, please! Crockett! Didn't believe me, did you?
I believed you once. Turned out to be a mistake.
Don't leave me.
Hey, I'll be back. There's more than you that needs tending to, though only one of you deserves it. Well, a war that I thought was over probably just got started back up again. And I'm the one that helped you to do it.
What do you think, Crockett? Do you think he dragged himself off someplace to die?
Maybe. Maybe some of his people heard the shot, come and got him. We'll find out.
Is this the way we came? It don't look the same.
No, it's not.
Find a shortcut?
Nope.
Why are we going back the same way?
We're not heading back to the same place we started out from.
We're not going back to camp?
Not our camp.
Not our camp? How are we going to find out what happened to that old Indian?
When we get to their camp, we'll ask them.
Their camp? Crockett! Crockett! Crockett!
What that Indian was doing back there at that stream was a purification ceremony. They do that when they're going into battle. Sometimes at the end of one. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping I can get us there before what you've done changes their mind.
Well, suppose you're wrong, Crockett. Suppose he was getting ready to go into battle.
Well, one way or the other, you and me will see the last of it. Last of everything, maybe.
Crockett, they're gonna kill us.
They might. At least one of us.
But he said he was likely to be back this morning, and it's already close on to noon.
Mr. Russell, if any man in this detachment can handle himself up there, it's your friend, Sergeant Crockett.
He's not my friend, Major. Maybe at one time, yes. But we're talking a Tennessee volunteer, a member of the unit. That's all. No more, no less.
You spoke to Mr. Callahan, Lieutenant? Any reason to believe that he and Crockett might be headed for trouble up there?
Well, we never discussed the specifics, sir. It was mainly generalities.
Besides, we're a little reluctant to send out a detachment of troopers just when things seem to be quieting down. We don't want to provoke a response on the part of the Creek.
If you'll excuse me, sir, I've got some things that need doing. Mr. Russell?
Well, with that being done,
I appreciate your concern, Mr. Russell, but I think we can afford to wait a bit before acting. Besides, wouldn't surprise me that your desire to be up in the hills looking for Crockett didn't have an underlying reason. It would get you out of having to give your little speech.
oh no, that's not it.
No butterflies? No little pit of terror that something dreadful might happen? None of that?
No, sir, not a smidgen.
Come on, you think you can walk a bit? It'll look better if you walk on in there.
You're crazy, Crockett. It's too big a risk.
Mr. Callahan, I don't figure there's ever been a safe way to end a war. Sometimes you just gotta hold your breath and jump. Maybe into a mattress or maybe off a cliff. But there comes a time to jump. Now's the time. I'll take this. You being ill and all.
Crockett, it's the last one of those in the world.
There'll eventually be more, Mr. Callahan. I think we can all pretty well count on that.
spiritual staunchness from Mr. George Russell.
What I'd like to say is that, what I'd really like to say is that, what I'd like to say is that Davy Crockett's come back.
Mr. Callahan's in the back there, not feeling too well. I think his pocketbook took a rupture. Is Mrs. Pickering here?
I'm here.
Ma'am? The reason that medicine man was down here on the morning of the shaker, because he come down here to bless this little patch of land. See, because he knew the creek was going to come down here and try to make peace. Well, when everything started moving, he got afraid. He thought it was our spirits. He was afraid of our spirits just like some of us were afraid of theirs.
I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean, Davy Crockett.
I'm saying it's over, man. The fighting is done with. The next stop for the Tennessee Volunteers is home. Lieutenant.
Crockett, feels I owe you some sort of congratulations.
Oh, no, sir. You don't owe me. Well, I'm the one that owes you. Mr. Callahan told me how you helped him by letting him know the likely place to look for the Creek medicine man. Well, that's something you're surely owed for. You're too bandy a rooster for me to hit. Though I'd surely like to drive you into the ground like a post. And we got enough chickens for the feathers, but no tar to speak of, so I expect that won't work. What are we gonna do to reward you, Lieutenant?
You'll do nothing to me, Crockett. You are who you are, and I'm a man of high goals, high places.
Well, high places are in your future, Lieutenant. No question about it.
Help me down, please. Soldier! Please help me down. Soldier!
Seen Georgie Russell? He's a chump. What? Actually, you look might like him. Except he'd never wear this choke around his neck or button up his coat and his collar. Or part his hair right down the middle. Hey, Davy. Hey, Georgie. It's over. That it is.